So within 9 years, all prisoners released will get rearrested. 83% of them will. 84% of males will, and 77% of females will be rearrested within 9 years of being released from prison. And it doesn't seem to really matter if you're young or old. Like there's this narrative like, oh, these young punks and they're just running roughshod. No, man. If you're 25 to 39, 85% of you will be rearrested. Even if you're 35 to 39, when you kind of like hopefully have settled down, 84% will be even if you're 40 or older, almost 80% will be rearrested. And that rearrest rate seems to be consistent for all races. So this is a really interesting one. So we looked at the likelihood of being arrested by race, and we know that it's very high for African Americans and Native Americans, but it was pretty low for Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, right? But once you get put into the system, doesn't matter if you're Asian, you're just as likely to be rearrested. So I kind of find this oddly encouraging because then it suggests that, oh, this is a criminal justice system. This isn't just necessarily a race relation system, because basically all races are screwed once they get thrown in prison. They're all screwed. 80% of them will be rearrested in 9 years or less. So our criminal justice system in terms of recidivism is equally terrible, regardless of your race. Economic mobility. So as you know, well, I don't know if you know, but many of you know that I am a big fan of universal basic income and economic empowerment of people. And I believe that a lot of folks who commit crime are doing it because they don't have great alternatives. They don't feel like there's a chance for them to just work hard and move up the economic ladder. But let's look at what the data says. So here is a super cool data visualization based on the likelihood of you moving up in the world based on how poor you were when you were born and what race you are. You guys ready for this? I think you're gonna find this super cool. Let's say here that you are a white boy and you are from let's start with a middle class household. What is the likelihood of where you're going to end up when you're an adult? So here's the green, the purple is the whites, and the green is the blacks. And if you're middle class, 33% of those middle class black men will end up poor adults, whereas only 17% of the born middle class white men will end up poor. And then 18% of the middle class white men will end up rich, but only 7% of the middle class black men will end up rich. So basically, if you're middle class and white, you have a pretty good chance of ending up either middle class or upper middle class or better or rich. And you only have a 1 in 3 chance of ending up poorer than you were. Whereas if you're a middle class black man, you have a 50% chance of ending up, more than 50% chance, 59% chance of ending up poorer than you started. So that's middle class. Middle class black men are more likely to end up poorer when they become adults than when they were born in the middle class. Now, if you say, well, what about poor people? So everybody here starts in the bottom. They're all poor. By the end of it, half of the black men will remain poor, but only 1/3 of the white men will be poor. 2/3 will have moved up. Although, actually it's not bad. About 10% will make it to becoming rich, 16% upper middle class, 20% middle class. So not terrible for the whites. If you're a poor white man, you're more likely to if you're a poor white boy, you're more likely to end up a not poor white man. If you're a poor black boy, you have a coin flip, 50-50 chance that you'll remain poor. Now, if you look at women, let's say, where's white boys? White girls and black girls. Oh, and I have Native American here too, so I'm going to get to that in a second. So if you're poor, this is great. If you're a woman and you're poor, if you're a poor girl, you're only 30% likely to remain poor. Girls are more likely to grow up richer than they were born if they were born poor. Whereas, as you know, boys were 50%, black boys were 50% likely to just stay poor. Now, let's say white girls versus Native American girls, or let's say white boys versus Native American boys. So if you're a poor white boy, 30% chance you'll stay poor, 70% chance you'll move up to at least the lower middle class. Looks like Native American men have the same kind of predicted mobility as African American men. And if you say Hispanic boys, oh, look at this. Hispanic have as good of a chance of getting out of the poor track as white boys. And then let's say Hispanic girls. Wow, look at this. Hispanic girls, basically 80% chance of moving out of the poor track. However, it does look like they do hit a little bit of a peak around middle class. Then the white men are more likely. Oh, let's do white girls to Hispanic girls. Okay, nope. Still, Hispanic girls less likely to remain poor than white girls. But once you get to middle class, the Hispanic women seem to hit some kind of ceiling and then become less likely to make it to upper middle and rich, but much more likely to get out of the poor track than the white girls. And then let's see, what other groups do we want to look at? We'll say white boys and Asian American boys. So if you're a poor Asian American boy, you have an 80% chance of getting out of it. It's kind of like the Hispanic women number. And you have a pretty good chance of becoming rich. So there you go. Twice as likely to become rich from starting at poor than a white boy would. And then let's say, let's look at the black girl boys and the black girls. Okay, here, so you see basically the 50% chance of staying poor for the black boys, 28% for the black girls. All of them, both black boys and girls, seem to hit a peak around that middle class. Very few make it from poor to upper middle or above. Looks like most of them, if they get out of the poor, will just become lower middle class. And then let's see, after you, what if you start lower middle class and you're Black? So you start lower middle, half of those Black women will stay there, 20% will drop, but then the other 40% will move up, which is encouraging. Whereas if you're a Black man born lower middle class, 28% will stay, 40% will drop, and only 30% move up. So if you're a Black man, Black boy, lower middle class, you're more likely to stay or move down than move up. Whereas if you are a Black woman, you have a better chance of moving up. You actually have a 36% chance of moving up and a 79% chance of at least staying, and only a 20% chance of moving down. So I think that this number here, this 39% of lower middle class Black men that actually become poor as adults is pretty striking. If you did that for white boys versus Black boys, you see here, okay, now if you're a lower middle class white boy, 20% will move down, but 60% will move up. And 80% will either stay the same or move up. And versus the Black men, where 40% move down and only 60% will stay the same or move up. So, and look at this, wow. 14% of white boys growing in the lower middle class will become rich. Only 4% of their Black counterparts will. So, I think the TLDR is that this notion that everybody who, works hard and has a shot to become kind of, the American dream, the data does not suggest that the likelihood of that happening is equal depending on your race. So the data suggests that if you are of certain races, you will have a much harder time even staying at the same economic level, not to mention moving up. Okay, so I hope this has been helpful to you all. If you found it interesting, please remember to like and share this content out. I know we went deep into the data, and this is definitely not a super mainstream kind of video, but I know there are some nerds out there who appreciate it. Before I say goodbye, let me just see if there are any questions or topics from the audience that you want me to try and hit. I'll do my best. So go ahead in the chat box if you have any questions for me. Let me know, and I'd be happy to try and hit them before we wrap up. So let's see if there's any questions here. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think there's any questions. Cool. All right, I'll tell you what, guys, I'm also going to put links to all of these charts in the description after I wrap up the stream. So if you want to go back and check them out for yourselves, you're welcome to do that. And I just want to also give you a heads up that we have a great show for tomorrow. And let me just show you who we've got coming on. So let's go to YouTube Nerds. All right, so let's go here and see. If you go on my homepage, there's the upcoming live streams. So tomorrow we have Fred the Felon. I might have even seen Fred in the stream earlier today. I don't know if he's still around. Well, I don't know, maybe he's not on. But Fred the Felon is going to be here. If you guys know Fred, he's a super interesting guy. In fact, I think he said he's going to Minnesota. He's a truck driver. He's bringing a load there. And he might even stream from Minnesota. So that'll be crazy. Then for the first hour tomorrow, this is Central Europe time. So this is going to be 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, Sunday. And then at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, we're going to have Seth Cohen, the founder of the Yang Super PAC. A little heads up, Seth was asking me, hey, do you still want me to come on to the show? Because I've got I have some things that I'm pretty critical of about Andrew Yang. And I was like, hey, that's great, man. Like, I don't want this channel to be only Yang Gang, agreeing all the time. Even within the Yang Gang, we have plenty of disagreements. Like if you guys saw the one with Noah from At Windows is Bad. So I was like, come on, man, let's hear it. I'd be really curious because obviously he was a big financial supporter of the Yang 2020 campaign through the Super PAC. And then next week we have Peter, my brother, the crazy MAGA man, who's in the live stream now. And in my opinion, sometimes says pretty crazy stuff that's kind of offensive, but in the spirit of us being open and hearing our points of view, we'll have Peter back. And I know some of you guys really enjoy having him on and seeing him like make me very upset. And Peter would like to remind everybody that he is not crazy. He is a very stable genius. All right. Oh, before we go, I do want to show you one cool thing that I've been working on that you might like, which is the Nerds for Humanity store. So check this out. I actually even ordered some for myself. So if you go to, I'll put this in the links. Hold on. If you want, this is another way you can support the channel. Obviously, the super chats and the memberships are awesome. If you're not up for that, or if you've done that and you also want to show some nerd pride when you're going to, walk the dog or whatever, this is the latest design that I think is pretty sweet. Let me see if I can make it a little bigger. Look at that. So it says Nerds for Humanity. It says Hello Nerds. I like that one. And you know why I like it? Because like it's not too loud, Like this is actually like a channel merch that like you could just wear. Like you might not even know it's a YouTube channel. And on the back, it has this little subtle, almost like a tattoo, like our Nerds for Yang kind of logo. So we've got that one. And then we have some for kids too. We have some ladies designs or ladies t-shirts. And then we have some kids sizes. And I left this one up on the store for old time's sake, just because I know we're Nerds for Humanity, but we can use that one in 2024. All right. So feel free to check out that merch. And if you are a channel member, go to the community tab. I put a 30% discount link in the community tab for members. So feel free to take full advantage of that, Elizabeth. If you like those t-shirts, you can go to the community tab and you'll see the secret code for members to get a 30% discount. And for everybody else, if you buy those shirts, basically, I did a video about healthcare economics using some new fancy screen sharing software that makes the charts much sharper. It's called Camtasia. It cost me like $150. So whenever you become a member, do a super chat, buy a t-shirt, it goes towards that stuff. The other thing I want to invest in is a green screen so we can have a nicer background and we can change it up. And then my webcam died, so I'm just using the laptop built-in one now. So it could be sharper. So these are the things that we do with that money. And it also helps me convince Mrs. Nerds that like, yes, it's important that I do these shows because people really value it. All right, with that, I'm going to say goodbye, nerds. You guys keep it real, like, share, and see you tomorrow if you want to see the conversation with Fred the Felon or hear why Seth Cohen is not happy with Andrew Yang. It'll all be on tomorrow. And, I can tell you that for the first time ever, the Nerds for Humanity channel will have a sitting congressional representative as a guest. So that is scheduled. You never know with these things. People cancel all the time. They get busy. They have second thoughts. But as of now, I have in writing a date that a certain member of Congress will be coming on to talk to us. So with that, for those who helped make that happen, thank you so much. Really appreciate your support. And anybody watching, if you think there's some cool guests out there and you want to try and ask them and invite them to come on, let me know. I'm always up for getting cool guests that want to talk about interesting stuff. All right. Keep it real. Peace. Bye, nerds. Let me just take a quick second to thank everyone who is a member of this channel, as well as all these great super chatters like Jennifer. Because obviously this kind of stuff that I do is not like super mainstream. Most people don't want to look at a bunch of charts, but because of our channel members who are supporting me and spending time to make this content, and obviously like cutting my dinner short and whatever, it's helpful. It's helpful that I know there are members who are really trying to help me produce more and more content. So I just want to do a very quick shout out to our members. And if you're not a member, you can always just click that join link on YouTube. But before we go to the black and white perception of crime, as well as incarceration rates and a whole bunch of other kind of racial components to crime, let me just give a quick thank you to the people that make this kind of research and communication of data possible. So on the EVP level, we have Kristen Slevin, our biggest supporter. We also have at the VP level, Chris, Laura, Fat, Jamsap, V, and Locke. And then at the hardcore level, we have, Checalago. He's here. I think he's in the house. Phoenix, Koa, Landline, DK, Tracy, David, Adrian, Gene, Chad, Mike. And then at the verified level, we have Nell, Elizabeth, Soldier, Emerald, Mercy Ann, Miles, Verily, Doris, Shake and Make, Mike, Sophia, Jadwiga, Gail, James, Hidachi, Your Maman, Peter, Erez, Albert, Brandon, Yes, Sugar Sweet, Brian, Lisa, and Sydney. Okay. So thank you